our knowledge, to make us among righteous. Allahumma ameen. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect our family from the evils and all kind of bad. Allahumma ameen. Inshallah, my respect to the brothers and sisters. Jummah Khutbah to all of you. Today Friday, recitation will be from Surah Al-Anbiya, Surah number 21, and the beginning of verse number 33. Surah Al-Anbiya, Surah number 21, and from the beginners of verse number 33. Inshallah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وهو الذي خلق الليل والنهار والشمس والقمر كل في فلك يسبحون. وما جعلنا لبشر من قبلك الخلد أفإن مت فهم الخالدون. كل نفس ونبلوكم بالشر والخير فتنة وإلينا ترجعون. وإذا رآك الذين كفروا إن يتخذونك إلا هزوا أهذا الذي يذكر آلهتكم وهم بذكر الرحمن هم كافرون. خلق الإنسان من عجل سأريكم آياتي فلا تستعجلون. ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين. لو يعلم الذين كفروا حين لا يكفون عن وجوههم النار ولا عن ظهورهم ولا هم ينصرون. بل تأتيهم بغتة فتبهتهم فلا يستطيعون ردها ولا هم ولقد أُرْسِلَ برسل من قبلك فحاق بالذين سخروا منهم ما كانوا به يستهزئون. قل من يكلأكم بالليل والنهار من الرحمن بل هم عن ذكر ربهم معرضون. أم لهم آلهة تمنعهم لا يستطيعون نصر وأنفسهم ولا هم مما يسحبون بل متعنا هؤلاء وآباءهم حتى طال عليهم العمر أفلا يرون أنا نأتي الأرض ننقصها من أطرافها أفهم الغالبون قل إنما أنذركم بالوحي ولا يسمع الصم الدعاء إذا ما ينذرون ولئن مستهم نفحة من عذاب ربك ليقولن يا ويلنا إنا كنا ظالمين ونضع الموازين القسط ليوم القيامة فلا تظلم نفس شيئا وإن كان مثقال حبة من خردل أتينا بها وكفى بنا حاسبين ولقد آتينا موسى وهارون الفرقان وضياء وذكرا للمتقين الذين يخشون ربهم بالغيب وهم من الساعة مشفقون وهذا ذكر مبارك أنزلناه أفأنتم له ولقد آتينا إبراهيم رشده من قبل وَنَّبِّئْنَا بني عالمين إذ قال لأبيه وقومه ما هذه التماثيل التي أنتم عنها عاكفون قالوا وجدنا آباءنا لها عابدين قال لقد كنتم أنتم وآباؤكم في ضلال قالوا أجئتنا بالحق أم أنت من اللاعبين قال بل ربكم رب السماوات والأرض الذي فطرهن وأنا على ذلك من الشاهدين صدق الله العظيم. الله أكبر
الله أكبر الله أكبر
أشهد أن
لا إله إلا الله
أشهد
أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على حي على الفلاح Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Amongst us
is our dear friend,
is our dear friend, our Habibi, Abdul Majid Danishiyar. Abdul Majid, where are you? Council General of Afghanistan has joined us, mashallah, for Salat al-Jummah. Takbir. Alhamdulillah, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put in the qalb, in the heart of Muslims to join each other. So, after the Salat, mashallah, he'll be around, hug him. He doesn't like a strong hug, so, but you make sure you give him a strong hug, that's a sunnah. So, welcome him to our center. On a sad note, one of our dearest brother, Rais Ahmed, extremely unusual person, none like him has been seen so far. Why? People have seen him taking care of 6-month-old babies and making friends with them of the community. And people have seen him, 1992-year-old people, parents of people, making the best friends. He was best of the best friend of all of us. He had a unique quality, mashallah. He was active member and participant, founder of several masajid, including the Inglewood Masjid and St. Gabriel Masjid, and Masjid al-Rahman, Garden Grove. He passed away. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi raji'un. It was Tuesday morning when he passed away. Yesterday, Thursday, on Thursday, we buried him. All the people loved him, showed him, couldn't believe is not amongst us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give patience to his family members and all the friends. Recitation of Quran and condolences will be for Rais Ahmed tomorrow between Zuhur and Asr at Jummah Masjid al-Islam, known as England, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول أشهد أن محمدا رسول حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده له فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله الله تعالى بين يدي الساعة بشيرا ونذيرا وبلغ ما رسال وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وجاهد في الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن استنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. أما بعد اعلموا يا عباد الله أن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. ثم أما بعد. We begin in the name of Allah, the Most High, the Most Gracious. Indeed, all praise and thanks belong to Him. We praise Him, we thank Him, we seek His assistance, we ask Him for His guidance, we beg Him for His forgiveness. We seek refuge in Allah from the evil that is within us, and we seek refuge in Allah from the consequences of our evil deeds. Whomsoever Allah guides, none can lead astray, and whomsoever Allah allows to stray, none can guide. I bear witness that none is worthy of worship except Allah, the one true God without any partners, and I bear witness that Muhammad ibn Abdullah as His servant and His final messenger. We ask Allah to send His peace, blessings, and salutations upon His last and final prophet and His family and His companions and those who follow His way until the end of time. A little over 2 years ago, a brother that has been teaching Muslims in North America for over a decade or perhaps even over 2 decades, who has been teaching classes, calling people to Islam, helping Muslims in different ways, in different avenues, in different facets. He was diagnosed with ALS. And when he was diagnosed with ALS, he took some time off from his work and he took a step back from everything that he was doing. As you may or may not know, generally most people after they experience or after they are diagnosed with ALS, generally they pass away in a period of 3 to 5 years. So it was very, very difficult news for him and his family, those that loved him, those that knew him, those that met paths with him. And after taking some time off in his first public appearance after his diagnosis, he gave a very powerful and moving talk in which he gave some very, very key reminders, some pieces of advice that perhaps every single person could benefit from. And perhaps the advice was a little more powerful. It hit home a little harder because this time the advice, the reminder, was coming from someone who had now been told that there's a very, very high likelihood, an extremely high likelihood that you're going to pass away in the next few years. And as the years go by, your health is going to deteriorate very rapidly. So I wanted to mention this piece of advice that he gave. I chose to do that today, because just last week his family announced that his health had deteriorated very severely, that he was in a grave condition. So I asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that if any of us from these advices and these reminders that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses that and places the deeds and make his good deeds, the situation that he's in and his family easy for him, his family and his loved ones. From that which he said, perhaps the first main point that he made, he said, the doctors told me what I already knew, that I'm going to die. Tell me something I don't know.
The only difference is that they gave me a time frame. But a bus could hit any one of us tomorrow. And we could die when we were already spiritually dead. He said, I appreciate all the du'as and all the love. But I want everyone to take time to examine their own spiritual illnesses. You may be walking around in this world with a heart full of envy or arrogance or jealousy in your heart. Then you die not having done anything about it, and you knew that you had this problem and actually had the chance to do something about it. Now, he starts off by saying, the doctors told me that which I already knew. The only difference is they gave me a time frame. This is a reminder for all of us that the only thing that is certain in life is death. Everything else is an uncertainty. Hassan al-Basri, one of the great tabi'een, the greatest of the tabi'een, he said, there is nothing in life that is more certain than death. And then he said, there is nothing in life that people themselves treat with more uncertainty than death. Yet, it is the most certain thing in life. It could happen to any one of us. Someone is diagnosed with a disease, cancer. Perhaps they're told by a specialist, by a doctor that you have a set time period to live. A year, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. But because they've been given a time frame, perhaps they're in a better situation than us. Because sometimes we feel like there's no time frame for us. But Allah says, addressing the Prophet وَمَا جَعَلْنَا لِبَشَرٍ مِّن قَبْلِكَ الْخُلْدِ, that we've never ever given anyone everlasting life in this world. He says, كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ. Every single person is going to taste death. That difficult moment. Everyone's going to go through it. Sometimes we lose sight of the big picture. That we're only here very temporarily. And every single one of us is going to face death. It could be today. It could be tomorrow. It could be in a few weeks. Some of us will experience it sooner than later, and others later than sooner. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect our families, our loved ones, every single one of us. But that is the reality. The situation of life. Regardless of age, regardless of health, it could come to anyone at any moment. And many times it comes to a person when they least expect it. In their sleep, car accident, a sickness that overcomes a person over a period of days. We've all heard stories. We've all lost family members, loved ones, community members. But he adds to this. He says that many of us are walking around with physical life, but we're already spiritually dead. There's so many sicknesses in our heart that we're aware of. Bad character, jealousy, arrogance, envy, an extreme love for this world, or a preference for this world over the next. We know it exists, and we're the best judge of ourselves. We know the problems that we have, the shortcomings that we face. Yet we've not done nothing about them. We have time right now. Only Allah knows how much time each one of us has. And what's interesting is that each one of us has a clock. That clock for some has years left on it. For others months. For others weeks. And for others maybe just seconds. As we gather here today, right now. As we sit as we sit,
as we begin
as
Jumu'ah,
we begin Jumu'ah, and as we end Jumu'ah,
between that period,
there will be people in the world that pass away.
not a person,
But people.
perhaps hundreds,
perhaps
a
a larger amount.
For those of you that live
in this area,
yesterday
I was awake a
midnight,
little past midnight.
and I don't know
And
if you felt
I don't know if you felt it, if you were awake.
but I know I felt it.
But I know I felt it.
There was a slight jolt.
There was a slight jolt.
My entire house shook.
My entire house shook for just very briefly, very momentarily.
I
was doing some work, and I looked around. I said, what just happened? Someone closed the door too hard? What happened?
There was an earthquake.
There was an earthquake. Not too far away in the city of Compton, 3.7. It could have been larger.
The shake that
you and I felt, or that some of us felt,
could have been a little stronger.
could have been a little stronger.
Buildings and
Walls could have collapsed.
But those
moments that we experience, for those of you that experienced it, that slight jolt, for those of you that were awake and experienced it, Allah wanted to remind you and I that don't take life for granted. It's very short, and it's a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The next point that he mentioned, he said, be good to your parents and your teachers. Serve them and care for them and make them happy. Honor the men and women who made you. For most of us, the people that had the most significant impact on our lives, the ones who essentially shaped who we are today, are our parents and then our teachers. A reminder to serve them, to care for them, to look after them, to make dua for them, especially if they've already passed, to make dua for what they've done for you, for what they sacrificed for you. He says the best way of honoring them was implementing what they taught you. Much, or the majority of what we know, of what we practice, whether it's in our daily life, our work, and the knowledge of this world, or in terms of the knowledge of this religion, came to us, our parents and our teachers. And those people, some of them have passed, and some of remain. If they remain, reach out to them. Make sure that you make them aware that they know that you care for them, that you love them. Serve them with acts of kindness. And if they've passed, serve them with your dua. But the best way that you can serve them, whether they are living or they have passed, is to implement what they have taught you, and to use it in a manner that's pleasing to Allah. Because then he says, anything good that you do, it's because of them, and they have a reward in it. The best way of serving them is implementing that which they taught you. Because when you do it, you're rewarded, and they are rewarded as well. And anything bad you do, it's because you're a fool. And it's on you. Whatever mistakes we make, whatever bad that we do, it's not on them, it's on us. But the point is, serve them, honor them, the people that shaped our lives, the people that sacrificed sleep and time and energy. Those of you that have children, those of you that are experiencing right now, perhaps as your parents and you have young children. You know what you sacrifice now. Your child's well-being is more important than your own well-being. Their health is more important than your own health. Their future, their success to you is more important to you than your own future, than your own success. And just like we
realize that now,
there were people
that preceded us, that put us before them. So honor them and serve them. Through your words, through your actions, and through your supplications. He says, as a third point, he says, when I got my diagnosis, I immediately thought about, whom do I have to make things right with? Who are the people that there's beef, there's problems between us and them? If you're going to differ with one another, then differ with love. Let go of the petty grievances. Are we really going to wait till the day of judgment to sort all our differences out, to settle our arguments and our disputes? Is that really what we're waiting for? Perhaps you wrong somebody, and you know it, and you haven't settled that matter, you haven't taken care of it, you haven't went and sought forgiveness. Perhaps you were the one that was wronged, and you haven't found it in your heart to overlook what they did, to forgive them, to make dua that Allah helps them rectify their situation. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increases his slave in glory, in status, when they pardon. And then he says, وَمَا تَوَاضَعَ أَحَدٌ إِلَّا رَفَعَهُ اللَّهُ. That no one humbles and lowers themselves for the sake of Allah. And in regards to this, forgiving someone, overlooking what they've done, except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will raise that person's status. And as the scholars that explain hadith, they say that إِلَّا رَفَعَهُ اللَّهُ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will raise that person's status in this world, and then in the next. And in the next, that person's status will be raised in paradise. And just so you know, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, in paradise, the distance between each station is greater than that which is between, or is greater than the distance that is between the heavens and the earth. How long are we going to wait to settle our disputes? Do we really want to wait until that person has passed away, and then attend their janazah, and then ask ourselves, why didn't I just fix things? Why didn't I just apologize? Why didn't I just forgive? Why didn't I just find it within myself to make things right? I've heard stories of family members, siblings that didn't talk to one another for a few years, for long periods of time. A few weeks ago, I just heard a story of two brothers who were not talking for a number of years, and then one of them passed away. When the janazah occurred and everyone prayed and buried this brother, his own brother who had attended the janazah, was there, and as everyone left, he remained. And he was sobbing. So they asked the Imam, can you console him and get him to leave? So the Imam went to him to try to console him, try to get him to leave the graveyard. And this man, he said, I just want to spend some more moments with my brother, because I didn't spend enough time with him when he was alive. I just wish I could hug him one more time, because I didn't hug him when he was alive. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us reconcile amongst one another, to bring our hearts together, to unite between us. أقول ما تسمعون وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين من كل ذنب فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين نحمده سبحانه وتعالى حمد الشاكرين ونستغفره استغفار المذنبين المقصرين ونصلي ونسلم على خير خلق الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن استنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. I'll summarize two more points that he mentioned. He said, eat right, exercise, and drink water. Now these are usually things that we hear, life advice from a trainer, from someone that's into health and fitness. This is prophetic. But this is prophetic. Eat right, exercise, and drink water. Our physical bodies are an amana, are a trust from Allah. We will be asked, we will be held accountable for how we treated these bodies. Don't get me wrong. All of us love some sweets. Whether it's ice cream, or whatever the case may be. But eat proportionally. A little here, a little there. Exercise. Drink water. Take care of your health. Go outside and spend time with your children. Don't let anyone take away time. Don't let anyone take time away from your Those of you that have family members, spouses, spend time with them. Those people are a blessing in your life. There will come a point in time where one of you passes away and you'll regret, I didn't spend time with that loved one, with that family member. Especially if your children are young. Spend more time with them. They're not in need of you working overtime. Rather they're more in need of your presence in their life. They're more in need of seeing you, communicating, of doing things with them that they enjoy, that feel are a waste of your time. It's not a waste of their time. It's building them to be the individuals that they one day will become, and that we hope that they will. Whether it's children, spouses, parents, relatives, whatever the case. Don't let anyone take you away from spending time with your loved ones. And the last main point that he ended with was, I'm not dead yet. I'm not dead. Every moment that we breathe, every day that we live to see, is a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu used to say that إذا أصبحت, that if you live to see the morning, فلا تنتظر. Don't wait for the night to come. Do good deeds in the time that you have. And if you live to see the night, don't say I'll do the good deeds tomorrow morning, because you don't know if that next morning or that next night will come. We're not dead yet. We all still have a golden opportunity in front of us. Take advantage of it. Come close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Take a step back and realize that our time in this world, all of it, whether it's 30 years or 70 years or even more, and we ask Allah to grant us long lives in this world in His obedience. But regardless of how many years it is, it's all a preparation for the next. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make faith beloved to us, to beautify it in our hearts. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those that frequently remember death. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those that act upon that which He has taught us, to make us of those that serve and care for our parents and our teachers. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us with good health, to bless us with good eating habits, to bless us with good exercise habits. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the best of this world, the best of the next, and to save us from the punishment of the hellfire. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم اشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين وارحم موتانا اللهم المسلمين اللهم انصر اخواننا المستضعفين في مشارق الارض ومغاربها اللهم كن لهم معينا ونصيرا وصل اللهم على نبينا محمد وعلى اله وصحبه وسلم. اقم الصلاه.
الله أكبر الله أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. ألهاكم التكاثر حتى زرتم المقابر كلا سوف تعلمون ثم كلا سوف تعلمون كلا لو تعلمون علم اليقين لترون الجحيم ثم لترونها عين اليقين ثم لتسألن يومئذ عن النعيم. الله أكبر. سمع الله بحمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah khairan, Shaykh Ahmed, for the excellent khutbah. We would like to all be reminded about death and about respecting our parents and our teachers. Inshallah, we thank you for the reminder. He will also be joining us, Shaykh Ahmed, for the family night tonight. He will be talking about the tafsir of Surah Al-Shaykh. Please come out to that. It should be very beneficial. November 9th is the Seerah conference here at Islamic Center South Bay. We have a number of scholars coming in. The weekend school is putting together a nice presentation for it. It should be a very beneficial event for the whole community. The entire weekend will be focused around, the entire day will be focused around the Seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, November 9th, inshallah. The ICSB Feed the Homeless program is ongoing on Sundays. We put together up to 500 bags for the homeless. If you would like to contribute to that program with your donation or with your effort, please you can come see any of us afterwards. We have a WhatsApp group that is advertised on the TVs. If you want to scan in for the WhatsApp group to keep updated with things that are going on. The mobile clinic, the free mobile clinic that occurs here is every second Sunday of every month. So inshallah, please come out for that. The ICSB welcome booth outside, you can get all this information as well. If you want information about the burial plots, see Brother Rohan Sorja, and he can get you information about that as well. The women's group meets every Friday, 11:30 to 1 with Dr. Fatima Arafa. That is still ongoing. And if you have any other questions or anything, you can direct them towards the weekend booth. I'll then just ask our Shaykh to make dua for the sick and deceased, especially Sister Maryam Rashid, Sister Sagufta Zuberi, Sister Jamila Malik, and for the brothers who have passed away. There is Brother Muhammad Sadiq in Pakistan, obviously Brother Rais Ahmed, who was earlier, Brother Ismail in India, Hajj Islam Nasir in Billoo. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we are going to make dua for them.
Oh yes, and before we get to the du'as, we have launched the ICS, so you can find on the app store. So you can find on the app store, and you can get a lot of information about what is going on. The app is live, so you can find it on the App Store and the Google Play Store. Okay, dua for the sick and disease.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum, my brothers, my sisters, my sisters, inshallah, the family night tonight. The family night, inshallah, tonight, we start right after Isha. Begin at 7:45. Right after that, inshallah, family night will be with Shaykh Ahmed Billoo. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. اللهم ارزقنا الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى ومن العمل ما تطمئن. اللهم انا نعوذ بك من الهم والحزن ونعوذ بك من العجز والكسل ونعوذ بك من البخل والجبن ونعوذ بك من غلبة الدين وقهر الرجال. اللهم تولنا فيمن توليت وعافنا فيمن عافيت واقض عنا شر ما قضيت فانك سبحانك تقضي بالحق ولا يقضى عليك. اللهم يا مقلب القلوب والابصار ثبت قلوبنا على دينك. اللهم اصلح احوالنا كلها ولا تكلنا الى نفوسنا طرفة عين ولا اقل من ذلك ونشقى ونضل ضالا بعيدا. اللهم اغفر للاموات اللهم ارحمهم واسكنهم في اعلى عليين. اللهم وسع مدخلهم وهون عليهم السؤال واجعلهم في زمرة الانبياء والصديقين والشهداء والصالحين وحسن اولئك رفيقا. اللهم ان كانوا محسنين فزد في احسانهم وان كانوا مسيئين فتجاوز عن سيئاتهم. اللهم اشف مرضانا وعاف مبتلانا وارحم موتانا اغفر لنا ولوالدينا ولمشايخنا ولمن علمنا القرآن ولأصحاب الحقوق علينا. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين.